Hi once again, First Baptist Global Ministry Partners. My name is Larry Stucky, serving with World Venture for over 40 years. Your partnership in the gospel with my late wife Deanna and me began in 1983. 1983, what a shared journey. It has included Brazilians, Albanians, Eastern Europeans, peoples on the move, and soon, Lord willing, highly unreached West African Muslims. I just say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have been so faithful with your Christmas in October spotlighting of your global workers. Last year I was with you for the kickoff of your annual drive. My video report focused on both peoples on the move and the unreached, and I staged it in a local park. I didn't have a clue that God would so quickly change my direction and entrust me with another chapter of hands-on ministry on behalf of the unreached, using worship and building on the past. So this year, even though I'm a behind-the-scenes worship leader, I'm bringing a song composed about 30 years ago in our second church plant in Brazil. Zaqueu Barros composed Maranatha, a song of ultimate hope in the Lord's return for his people. As I play and sing, I'm praying that one day worship will surge from the West Africans in praise of our God.
Tu estás assentado no seu trono.
I couldn't have imagined the role my grown kids would play in drawing my attention to the fine woman and fellow World Venture global worker who has consented to marry me next year. Barb Bentley taught my daughter first and second grades in Brazil and my son third and fourth grades from 1989 to 1991. She still teaches the children of global workers, now in West Africa 33 years later.
Hello everyone. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'm grateful for this chance to give you an update. I am especially excited to have Larry join us as he and I became officially engaged on June 26th.
I'm also greeting you from a distance this time. Barb and I plan to marry in midsummer 2023, Lord willing, back in the States. Here's some of what I anticipate in this next season of ministry. Ethnodoxology is the big word that describes my main intended approach. You recognize the doxology part of the word. It's all about God's praise. The ethno part focuses on peoples, each with their own language, customs, heritage, and art and musical forms. Put them together, and ethnodoxology is about heartfelt worship of the living God in the musical and art forms, style, and heart language of a given people. Here's how our global ethnodoxology network puts it. Ethnodoxology is the interdisciplinary study of how Christ followers in every culture engage with God and the world through their own artistic expressions. Yes, that's quite a mouthful. And for that to come to pass, I ask you to pray for me and for a certain group of people in West Africa. I'll call them the FW people group and explain why. There's an ethno-linguistic group of 3.2 million people in a West African country that Joshua Project shows as 100% Muslim and 0.00% followers of Jesus. That grabs my heart. I'll dub them the FW people group, short for Future Worshippers. 3/4 of the FW are illiterate. They don't read any language. That doesn't mean they're dumb. In fact, far from it. Without reading, they still manage to make a living, use smartphones, connect with their friends, pay their bills, follow musicians and performers on YouTube, memorize stuff. In fact, they often have phenomenal memories. They are intensely relational. You want some of the FW people group members for lifelong friends. We could use another 60 global workers to come alongside the future worshipers for the initial impact of the gospel. Let's prayerfully wrap our hearts around John Piper's challenge, mission exists because worship doesn't. Some of you may remember me in my trombone. I took it all over the world and hope to get it to Africa as well. When I did my vision trip in February, the youth band director shoved his trumpet into my hands, trumpet, not trombone, and urged me to just play along by ear. Everywhere I have been for the last 50 plus years, I have been involved in worship. I also play a few other instruments, including my most recent and most favorite so far, adventure. To tell the truth, I'm still learning to play auxiliary keys in our Latino worship band. My 2 keyboards are definitely on the packing list for Africa. even if the trombone doesn't make it this time. Imagine this and help pray it into reality. Musical influencers from the FW People Group beginning to share a profound love for God with their rich combo of bright costumes, flashy dance, and choreography. Exuberant and lively rhythms on their own instruments, compelling and singable melodies focused on the greatness of the living God, and all in their heart language. If many of these future worshipers could just have that kind of God-focused songs in their hearts and on their lips. That's what I'm talking about. Ethnodoxology. That's the big picture, and I have a lot of hoops to jump through. Just wrapping things up and renting out my house, I have some serious downsizing ahead of me. I honestly never imagined I had another people group and language in my future. I'll be jumping into the national language of French, my fifth language, before I ever hope to influence the future worshiper people group in their own language. Pray for my rusty language chops to rise to the challenge and for me to overcome any brain fog. While I enjoy the adventure of learning a new language, it's still a ton of work. It's always humbling not to know as much as a typical toddler about how to communicate. By the time I put in that hard work, Barbara and I hope that we will have years of longevity in this West African context to participate in the harvest. She and I would love to spend several more years serving both global workers with their children as well as the future worshipers. We long for a generation from the future worshipers becoming the now and forever worshipers of the living God. Will you pray towards that with us? Thanks again for your generosity as we celebrate the birth of our Savior.